On today's video, we're going to tell you all about some huge mistakes home buyers and home sellers in North Carolina have been making lately. This is Chris Morton, real estate broker with the Morton Bradbury Real Estate Group. So let's get at it. So one of the huge mistakes home buyers and home sellers are making in North Carolina right now is thinking it's still 2021. If you remember the crazy days of 2021, homes were flying off the shelf. They could be literally listed in the morning and sold 3 hours later. Buyers were in a frantic panic. Sellers were making a lot of money. And so lots of people are still thinking it's like that right now. And this kind of mental block affects both buyers and sellers. Yes, there are some incredibly hot areas of North Carolina like Wilmington, Charlotte, and our own Raleigh, Durham, Chapel Hill, Cary area. These are really, really hot markets right now. But things have definitely cooled off a lot in the last couple years and made it more of a balanced market where buyers and sellers sort of have an even chance to get transactions done. This is mainly caused by the rise in interest rates that we've seen. So the mistake buyers are making right now in thinking that it's still 2021 is they're sometimes continuing to overpay for houses. There are definitely a lot of overpriced homes on the market in North Carolina right now, and buyers are falling into the trap of overpaying for or paying that list price for all of those homes. So our advice to buyers out there is you need a very good, very qualified real estate agent to be on your side to run comparables, to let you know what current sales activity in the area that you're looking in has been so that you know you don't overpay. And so what's causing this overpayment of houses from buyers? Well, again, it has a lot to do with the fact of thinking the world is still 2021 and you gotta pay a lot to get a house. But it also has a lot to do with that thing we talk about all the time where if homes show like a model, they're in high demand. So imagine you're going into an amazing house, looks great, smells great, staged perfectly, no dirt, all the repairs look to be done, everything looks perfect. You're in that house, and while you're in that showing of that house, there's like 2 or 3 other families or people in there looking at the same house, and everybody's oohing and eyeing. Well, that could potentially cause you to get all like, oh gosh, I gotta have this house, I gotta have this house, because everyone wants to have what other people want to have. So know that that group of houses, those model homes, do sell quickly, they do sell for top dollar, but don't get yourself all heated and pay $20,000, $30,000 more than you really should pay for that house. Yeah, you may really want it, but do you really want to pay the equivalent of a car to get it? The negative of overpaying for the house, beyond the fact that you're losing money and your monthly payment's probably going to be higher, is that it may not appraise for that amount when you get your appraisal done from the bank, which could cause a lot of conflicts with the seller because the seller is going to say, well, you offered this, why are you not willing to pay it now? Just know that you need to look at the numbers and pay what needs to be paid to get the house, but don't overpay for it. And on the seller's side, sellers need to be careful not to overprice their homes. We are seeing this happen a lot this year, where sellers, again, still think it's 2021 and they price their homes higher, thinking they're going to attract buyers and the buyers are going to be willing to pay that higher price or maybe higher still than the high list price that they've offered. And unfortunately, for a lot of these homes, they continue to sit over the months that they're on the market. And please, sellers, know that buyers get very scared when they see a home that is sitting on the market for a long time. Back in the olden days, before Zillow put their days on market in their listings of their individual properties on their website, the average buyer didn't know what the days on market was for a house. Agents would explain it to their buyers, but they would give it sort of a caveat and say, this is normal, this is okay for the market, that this home has been for sale for 45 days. Now, because buyers are watching these homes, they can themselves see that the homes are sitting, and so the value in their minds goes further and further down. So bottom line, sellers, it's unlikely that a buyer is going to pay top dollar and certainly not over asking price for a home that's been sitting on the market for an extended period of time. Now, the market itself drives what is normal. So back in 2021, a house that was on the market for 7 days was considered ancient. Now, I think you can get away with 21, 30 days, 40 days possibly, but I think anything past that is going to look very concerning. So our advice to sellers is don't overprice your home on the front end, but if you do accidentally or deliberately overprice your home on the front end, make a very quick course correction in about 2 weeks at the worst, where you lower that price and get it back to the level that likely your experienced real estate broker told you you should have priced it at in the first place. So the next huge mistake we're seeing people in North Carolina make when they're buying and selling homes is not getting home inspections. Now this affects both buyers and sellers. A lot of the time, most sellers think you don't need to get an inspection, but trust us, you do. We'll talk about that in a minute. But let's talk about the home buyers first. Whether you are buying a resale home or a new construction home, you should get a home inspection. You heard me correctly. New construction homes still need to get a home inspection. There are issues that pop up all the time on an inspection report for a brand new home that would surprise you and shock you if you knew about them, or if you were living in a house and 30 days later they popped up. One example, and I remember this like it was yesterday, I had clients that had bought a home, amazing home, great house. We were doing the home inspection. Home inspector was testing everything out. They tested the gas fireplace. The gas line was not hooked up properly. It was detached, meaning if the future owner had tried to light it with the lighter underneath and it wouldn't work, and the switch on the wall wouldn't work, and they tried to use one of those lighter gun things, it could blow the house up. Thankfully, it was caught before the buyers had actually gone to closing and bought the house, and it was their situation to deal with, and the builder happily fixed it. Another big one I tell all the time on this channel is I had clients who were buying a townhome in Raleigh, great townhome. Somehow the plumber, the subcontractor, didn't hook up the main water line out of the bathtub above the kitchen to the rest of the line. So when the home inspector tested the tub, and they usually fill them full of water to make sure water can stay, unfortunately we had a delightful waterfall that came through. It was beautiful. It was a work of art. Unfortunately, it's probably not what you'd want to find in your kitchen on a Sunday morning when someone was up in the guest room taking a bath or shower. And anyway, luckily the builder jumped right on it, literally was in the neighborhood, came over, saw it, called the plumber, had the plumber over, had the drywall people over. The next day, the day after that, couldn't even tell there was an issue. It was amazing. So needless to say, there was no surprises for my buyers when they went to closing. So all of those are to say, if you are buying new construction, get yourself a home inspection. We prefer you get a pre-drywall inspection as well. That's the period of time before they put the insulation in the walls and the drywall up and it's just all the studs sticking out. That is when you want to get an inspection to check the electrical, the plumbing, all of that sort of thing. We have had issues that have popped up. Most of the time they're minor, but better safe than sorry. Those sort of pre-drywall inspections cost you about $200, and the big inspection probably costs you $500, something in that range. Money well spent. And please do not let the builder talk you out of getting those inspections. That is your right to do. If you are about to sign a contract with a builder and they're not allowing you to do an inspection, or they make it very difficult where you have to do it at 3 a.m. every other Tuesday while standing on your head and hopping up and down with a full moon, then you probably don't want to buy that house. That builder doesn't want you to have an inspection because they don't have confidence in their work. So that would be a red flag to me to not buy that house. Again, this is where your professional, experienced real estate broker is going to come in handy, because they're going to read over that contract to make sure there's no funny business in there. And as far as our friends that are buying resale, that goes without saying that you absolutely need to get a home inspection. I have never, ever been in a home that was a resale home that didn't have issues that were found on a home inspection. Now, some of them are very, very minor, loose switch plates, things like that. Some of them can be major. It's not going to always be perfect. There's going to be things that pop up after the home inspection in your house, but know that that home inspection is going to be able to give you information that you can go back to that seller and say, hey, we need you to fix this heating and air system. We need to fix this roof. We need to fix this electrical issue, all of that sort of thing. So always when you're buying a resale home, get a home inspection. And this issue also affects sellers. Lots of sellers think, I don't need to get a home inspection. In fact, lots of agents say don't get a home inspection. My argument is don't be blindsided by the unexpected things by not getting a home inspection. By you preparing ahead of time and getting things done and getting an inspection done, you're going to know what's wrong with your house. You're going to fix a lot of them and make your house closer to being one of those model homes we talked about earlier, which is going to give people confidence in buying the home. My argument also is if the market was to ever go down to the point that it was in like 08, 09, 10, where there were lots of homes and few buyers, you're going to want to stand out in the market. The way you can stand out is to say, buyers, my home is staged great, smells great. We're going to be willing to show the home at midnight if you want to come see it at midnight. And best of all, we've done a home inspection, and here it is. We've got all these things done. We've got a roof issue that we know about. That's going to get fixed prior to closing. And incidentally, sellers, a lot of these roof companies, a lot of major systems companies are willing to be paid at closing if you get that work done there at the end. So imagine you have a roof that needs to be replaced. Well, you can get that work done the last week prior to closing. And then the roofing company can be paid by the attorney at the closing table. You don't have to put any money out of pocket. It comes out of your proceeds. So there's a win-win for everybody if you had to get a roof done. So know that getting a home inspection for a seller is going to cause you not to have any surprises. Now, if you're not willing to get a full inspection done, at least get your major systems looked at. Again, those are the roof, that's the heating and air system, all of the big ticket items that could cause you headaches and pain and trauma when that buyer gets their inspection done. Go ahead and get that done now before you even list the home, so that way you know what you're getting yourself into. And if you're not willing or able to replace a roof or replace a whole heating and air system, either out of proceeds or right this minute, you can at least tell the buyers as they come in, hey, we're aware that the roof needs replacing. We are not willing to do that. That way the buyers know what they're getting themselves into. They're not putting their due diligence money into the pot and then being angry at you because you're not willing to do anything. It's a much more pleasurable, easy experience when you're able to disclose on the front end that you have a roof issue that you're not willing to fix versus having the blinders on and not knowing that there is any roof issues. The buyer finds it, they get inflamed, and that's just a lot of trauma. The next big mistake people make when they're buying homes in North Carolina is believing the new construction timelines. So if you're buying a new construction home in North Carolina, please know that when that builder or builder representative gives you an estimated completion date, it's just that. An estimation. Things happen all the time in North Carolina. We have crazy weather. It could be 900 degrees one day and then snowing the next day. We can have occasional hurricanes that come through. Certainly Wilmington gets affected by that, where building has to get stopped for whatever period of time, and then the subcontractors that were doing the work have to work that home back into their schedule. And anyway, there can be delays that happen, and they could pop up unexpectedly, and they could be quite substantial sometimes. We've seen it happen many, many times where homes have been delayed and people have thought that that estimated completion date was the official date, and they've planned their whole lives around it. They've gotten their home sold and they're living in temporary housing, or they had a rental and they let their lease drop, and so now they're in temporary housing for, just a couple days until it's time to move into their new home. And at the very last minute, the builders say, surprise, we're not able to complete the home by Tuesday. It's going to be a month from now. And then that buyer is sitting in temporary Airbnb, Verbo type short-term housing that's costing them $100 or more a day. That really eats into a budget. We've had that happen a couple of times to our clients, and this is even after we've stayed on those builders to get updates all the time. They've still surprised and not been honest with the buyers and with the agents. Not really cool. We're not real happy with those builders still to this day, but that can happen. So just be prepared to not get rid of your current housing, or be prepared to be somewhere for an extended period of time just in case. And we've seen it happen on the flip side as well, where it's not been delays that happen to the home buyer of a new construction home. It's been the home is done early. We had some amazing clients just a couple of months ago that were projected to close the end of 2023. We closed in September of 2023. Luckily, my folks were in a rental. They could break their lease with a 30-day notice. And so the builder was a very good builder, one of our favorites, in fact, and let us know in mid-July, hey, we're going to be done with this house, not in December, January, but in September. So my folks were able to put in a end of their lease to end the 1st of October, so they had plenty of time to move in. Everybody was happy. But imagine if that builder hadn't told us that. Imagine if the client had a home to sell and they were timing their sale so that they would be able to close on their current home and move right into their new construction home. Well, that plan would have been completely blown up had the builder surprised us, hey, we're able to close 30 days, 90 days early. That would not have worked. So again, know that it can happen both on the delay side and on the ready too soon side. So our advice to home buyers who buy new construction goes back to, again, having a professional real estate broker on your side to help you out. They will do what our team does, and that's have regular check-ins with the builders and be able to converse back with you and say, hey, looks like things are moving along. We should be able to close in about 90 days. That way, if you have a house to sell or a lease to break, you'll know it a little bit better. Now, obviously, with those two examples I told you about a little bit ago, no builder is going to be perfect in communicating, but we do our best to make it happen as best we can. So definitely have yourself an agent who's going to help you out. Next big mistake home buyers make in North Carolina is going directly to the seller's agent or the builder's agent to help you buy that home. We never recommend you talk to the other side's agent to help you buy a home, because that agent works exclusively for that seller or that builder. You may go into a model home and that person sitting there may be very friendly, very nice, and very helpful and very knowledgeable, but that doesn't mean they work for you when you buy that home or you're building that home. They work for that builder. Their goal is to get you to buy that home and to buy it for as much money as they possibly can get you to buy it for. That's their job. Know that you need to have your own professional representation when you build a home. That agent's going to help you tamp down on overpaying. They're going to help you tamp down on getting too many upgrades if you're going to a design center to help design your home. And they're going to help shepherd you through that whole process. Now, obviously, with a resale property, you can have a dual agency situation where the seller's agent helps both you and the seller. But we don't really encourage that. We think it's very, very hard for an agent to help both sides of a transaction. It's always better to have your own representation, someone who's going to fight for you and advocate for you and know all the nuances of that neighborhood and that home and make sure you get the best home possible at the best deal possible. Basically, know that when an agent helps both the buyer and the seller, they have to become sort of an order taker where they don't advocate for either side. And so, while everyone's on an equal footing in many ways, it's also that everyone's at an equal disadvantage. So again, we recommend you get your buyer agent and let the seller have their seller agent. The next big mistake that home buyers and home sellers in North Carolina make is getting emotionally attached to the home. We say it all the time that it happens. Do not become emotionally attached to a home if you're buying a home until it's actually your home. If you get all wrapped up into a situation where you absolutely have to have the home with the white picket fence and it's amazing and you love it and everybody in the family wants to live there, you're going to probably say, we'll just get that roof fixed later. If the seller don't want to fix it, no big deal, we'll get it done later. Well, that's $20,000, possibly $10,000 out of your pocket. Don't get emotionally attached to a home until it's actually your home. Then love it, live in it, and be amazed by it. On the flip side, sellers shouldn't be emotionally attached to the home either once they're ready to sell it. Once you get your home on the market and a sign is in your yard, that home must become a product for sale. If you're not at the point emotionally where you can detach yourself from the home that you've lived in for how many ever years, you're going to have yourself a big issue, because a buyer's likely going to come into your home and say, oh, I don't like this paint color, or I don't like this or that about the home. And if you have a Ring camera where you're listening to what they're saying, you're going to get offended. I've had sellers do it all the time, and you have to sort of talk them down and say, look, this is a product for sale. Don't be emotionally attached to your home. I know it is your home, but don't get emotionally attached anymore because you're trying to get this home sold. So your goal as the home seller is not to be emotional about it. It's to get the home looking as good as you possibly can so that someone else can love it just as much as you did. The next big mistake home buyers in North Carolina make is ruling out resale homes. We have a lot of clients that come to us and they absolutely are adamant. I must have a new construction home, 100%, no options. And then they look and look and look for a home in their area that they want to be in, and there's no new construction homes, or they may have to pay a couple $100,000 more than their budget to get a new construction home in that area. It happens a lot for people who want to move to Cary or downtown Raleigh, unfortunately. And so they're either going to have to choose to move further out, or they're going to have to put resale homes on their option list to search for those homes. So there's a lot of pros to buying a new construction home. Obviously, it's a brand new home. There's not been anybody living in it, dirtying it up, making messes and tearing up stuff and putting metal in the microwave. None of that's happened. The home also comes with a warranty. So you know you're going to be protected for a period of time from structural, from the roof, from the HVAC system going out, from the plumbing, all that sort of thing. So you have a lot less fear about what's going to happen for the next couple years if you buy new construction. A lot of the time with new construction, you're able to pick your finishes. If you have your heart set on a specific quartz or granite or quartzite countertop, you can likely get that if you have the option to go to the design center. You can truly personalize the home to be your home. And of course, because the home is new, you're going to have less repairs, less things to hassle with down the road. On the flip side, there's a lot of pros to buying resale. You're likely buying in an established neighborhood. The trees aren't these little squiggly little things out in the front yard. You've got nice trees to drive through. I think about Bedford at Falls River, neighborhood I used to live up in North Raleigh. And the trees when I moved in 2005 were these decent trees, but they were a little bit squiggly. Now they're like canopies, and so you drive into this amazing like canopy vibe. Wakefield, which is the next big neighborhood right up above that, it's the same thing. It's amazing how the trees have grown up over 15, 20 years, and so it's a totally different vibe than a new construction neighborhood where you have these little sticks that look like the Charlie Brown Christmas trees. And along those lines, beyond the awesome trees, you have developed landscaping. Some of those bushes that the builders plant really look kind of puny when they're new, but 10 years down the road, they're all bloomed out and look beautiful. So it just adds to the atmosphere of the neighborhood and to the home to have the mature landscaping. And of course, another pro of resale, in general, you're going to get more home for the money. A 2,000 square foot new construction home is likely to cost more than a 2,000 square foot resale home. So you're able to buy more home or buy in the preferred area you want to be in. It's definitely something you should consider if you're one of those must-have 100% new construction people. And of course, another pro of resale is resale home doesn't mean built in 1850. It may have been built in 2022. We had a client looking at a home just yesterday that was built in 2022, looked like a brand new home. It was amazing. Well, of course, it was only a year old, but it didn't look like it had been lived in or worn out or any of that sort of thing. So don't be scared of resale. That doesn't mean buy something that's a log cabin. It may mean buy something that's a couple years old that maybe has had the systems worked out and everything's great, and you get your home inspection and you're going to love the home just as much as you would a new construction home. So if you're considering a move either into or out of the Raleigh area, my real estate team and I would be honored to be your agents of choice. You can give us a call on the number below, email us at hello@mortonbradbury.com, or click on the link in the description. We'll be happy to help get things started for you. Check out this video. We think you're really going to like this one as well. And like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. And with that being said, we'll see you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.